How are you guys doing? Today is Tuesday, September 21st, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances that took place yesterday on Monday, September 20th. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. And just to take a quick snapshot of where we are, the MLB season is coming to a close. The NFL and college football seasons have just started up, same with the soccer seasons. The WNBA regular season is coming to a close as the playoffs start on Thursday. Not to mention the NBA season's around the corner, same with the NHL. But without further ado, just taking a look at what went down in the MLB yesterday. Starting off in Cleveland, the Cleveland Indians hosted the Kansas City Royals for a doubleheader. The Royals would end up beating the Indians in both games. In the first game, they would win 7-2. For the Indians in game one, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Triston McKenzie. McKenzie would allow 7 earned runs and 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Triston McKenzie is 5-7. In the Indians batting lineup, their center fielder Myles Straw went 3 for 4 with a run. He was the only player on the team with more than one hit in game one. For the Royals in game one, the complete game win would go to their starting pitcher, Brady Singer. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 6 hits and 7 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this win, Brady Singer is 5-10. In the Royals batting lineup, their shortstop, Nicky Lopez, went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their elite catcher, Salvador Perez, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 46th home run of the season, setting an MLB record, I think, for catchers in a season. And then the right fielder, Hunter Dozier, would go 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a run. He hit his 14th home run of the season. Going into game 2, where Kansas City would beat the Indians 4-2, the loss for the Indians would go to their starting pitcher, Nick Whitgren. Whitgren would allow 2 earned runs and .2 innings pitched. He would get pulled in the first inning, and with this loss, he's 2-8. In the Indians batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their first baseman, Bobby Bradley, would end up going 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 14th home run of the year. For the Kansas City Royals, the start was given to their starting pitcher, Joel Payamps. Payamps allowed 1 earned run and 2.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win would go to the Royals' first relief pitcher on the day, Domingo Tapia. Tapia would allow no earned runs and 1.2 innings pitched. He would finish the 3rd and 4th innings for Kansas City. With this win, he's now 3-0. He also picked up 4 strikeouts on the night. The save would go to the Royals' closer, Scott Barlow. Barlow allowed 1 earned run in the 7th inning as he struck out 2. This would be his 14th save of the season. In the Royals batting lineup for Game 2, their shortstop, Nicky Lopez, went 2 for 4 for a run. Also, their third baseman, Hanser Alberto, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI. With these 2 wins, the Kansas City Royals are now 69-82. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. At the moment, Kansas City is one of 4 teams that have been eliminated from American League playoff contention, alongside the Minnesota Twins, the Texas Rangers, and the Baltimore Orioles. With these 2 losses, the Cleveland Indians are now 73-76. That is the 2nd best record in the American League Central, as they've lost their last 2 games. They've lost 6 of their last 10, and at the moment they trail the Chicago White Sox by 11.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Reds hosted the Pittsburgh Pirates in this NL Central matchup. The Reds would beat the Pirates 9-5 actually. The Pirates would lead until the Reds took the lead in the bottom of the 5th. Joey Votto's solo home run would tie it, and then a solo home run from Eugenio Suarez would give them the lead, and then 3 runs later, here they are. For the Pittsburgh Pirates in this matchup, the start was given to Dylan Peters. Dylan Peters would go on to allow 4 earned runs and 3 innings pitched as he struck out 3. The loss would go to the Pirates' first relief pitcher on the day, Cody Ponce. He allowed 2 earned runs and 2 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, he's 0-5. In the Pirates batting lineup, their right fielder Yoshi Tsutsugo will go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 8th home run of the season. Their left fielder Ben Gamel went 2 for 4. And then for the Cincinnati Reds, the start would go to Vladimir Gutierrez. He allowed 5 earned runs and 3.1 innings pitched as he struck out 3. The win will go to the Reds' first relief pitcher, Luis Cessa. Cessa allowed no earned runs as he finished off the 4th and 5th innings, striking out 3 in that span. With this win, he's now 5-2. For the Reds batting lineup, their shortstop Kyle Farmer would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. Farmer would go on to hit his 15th home run of the season. Their right fielder, Nick Castellanos, would go 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Their first baseman, Joey Votto, went 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 32nd and 33rd home runs of the season. And also their elite third baseman, Eugenio Suarez, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Suarez hit his 27th home run of the season. Jumping out to looking with this win, the Cincinnati Reds are now 78-73. That is the third best record in the National League Central, as they have now won 4 of their last 10 games. They trailed the Milwaukee Brewers by 13.5 games in the division, and at the moment, the Cincinnati Reds now sit 3 games behind the St. Louis Cardinals for that second National League wildcard spot. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 56-94. That is the worst record in the National League Central. They've lost their last 2 games. They've lost 4 of their last 10. They trailed the Milwaukee Brewers by 35 games in the division, and at the moment, they are one of 5 teams in the National League who have been eliminated from playoff contention, alongside the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Washington Nationals, the Miami Marlins, and now the Chicago Cubs. Jumping out to Detroit, the Detroit Tigers hosted the Chicago White Sox, and in this matchup, the Tigers would beat the AL Central leaders 4-3. The score was tied at 4. The Tigers would break the tie at the bottom of the 8th off of an RBI single from Harold Castro. For the White Sox in this matchup, the start was given to Carlos Rodon. He allowed 3 runs in 3 innings pitched, striking out 6. The loss would go to the White Sox elite closer, Craig Kimbrell. He allowed 1 earned run in the 8th inning as he struck out a batter. With this loss, Craig Kimbrell's 4-5. In the White Sox batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. That would be attributed to great pitching for Detroit. For the Tigers, the start was given to Matt Manning. Manning allowed 3 earned runs in those 5 innings that he pitched as he struck out 2. The win would go to the Tigers' second relief pitcher, Drew Hutchinson, as he allowed no earned runs as he pitched 2 innings. He pitched the 7th and 8th innings, striking out 3. With this win, he's 2-1. The save for Detroit would go to Alex Lang. Lang allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning, and with this save, he now has 1 on the season. No one on the Tigers would finish with more than 1 hit. Their center fielder, Victor Reyes, would go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 73-78. That is the third best record in the American League Central, as they've won their last 3 games and they've won 7 of their last 10. They currently trail the Chicago White Sox by 12.5 games in the division. And with this loss, the Chicago White Sox are now 85-65. That is the best record in the American League Central. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games. They sit 11.5 games ahead of the second-place Cleveland Indians in the division, and at the moment, they're holding on to that 3rd seed in the American League playoff picture as it stands, sitting behind the 1st seed Tampa Bay Rays and the 2nd seed Houston Astros at the moment. Jumping out to Miami, the Miami Marlins hosted the Washington Nationals, and in this match between the bottom 2 teams in the National League East, the Marlins would beat the Nationals 8-7 in the 10th inning off of a wild pitch from Sam Clay, allowing Jazz Chisholm to score. For the Washington Nationals in this matchup, the start was given to Erick Fedde. He allowed 4 runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 5. The loss would go to the Nats closer for the day, Sam Clay. He allowed no earned runs without registering an out. He would walk a batter as well, and with this loss, he's 0-5. In the Nationals batting lineup, their center fielder, Lane Thomas, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his 6th home run of the season. Their shortstop, Alcides Escobar, went 3 for 6 as well. Their catcher, Keibert Ruiz, would go 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and a run. And then their second baseman, Luis Garcia, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI. For the Miami Marlins in this matchup, the start went to Jesus Luzardo. He allowed 5 earned runs in 4 innings pitched, striking out 2. The win would go to the Miami Marlins closer, Dylan Flora. He allowed no earned runs in the 10th inning, and with this win, he's now 6-6. In the Marlins batting lineup, their shortstop, Jazz Chisholm, would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. Their right fielder, Jesus Sanchez, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their left fielder, Lewis Brinson, went 2 for 4 with an RBI as well. With this win, the Miami Marlins are now 64-86. That is the 4th best record in the National League East. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They currently trail the Atlanta Braves by 15 games in the division. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 61-89. That is the worst record in the National League East, as they've lost 7 of their last 10. They trail the Atlanta Braves by 18 games in the division. The Miami Marlins and the Washington Nationals are 2 of the 5 teams that have been eliminated from playoff contention at least in the National League. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies hosted the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles would end up beating the Phillies 2-0, scoring both of their runs in the first inning, both off of RBI singles from Pedro Severino and Ryan McKenna. For the Philadelphia Phillies in this matchup, who were shut out, by the way, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Ranger Suarez. He allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as they struck out 5. With this loss, he's 6-5 on the season. In the Phillies batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. That would be attributed to great pitching from the Baltimore Orioles. The win for the Orioles went to their starting pitcher, John Means. He allowed no earned runs and only 4 hits in 6.2 innings pitched. He struck out 6. With this win, he's 6-7 on the season, and the save was given to Tyler Wells. Wells would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning. This would be his 3rd save of the season. In the Orioles batting lineup, their catcher Pedro Severino would be the only player with more than 1 hit. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are now 48-102. That is the worst record in the American League East, the worst record in the American League, and they are tied with the Arizona Diamondbacks for the worst record in all of baseball at the moment. They've won only 2 of their last 10 games as they trailed the Tampa Bay Rays by 45.5 games in the division. They are one of 4 teams in the American League who have been disqualified from wild card or at least playoff contention. With this loss, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 76-74. That is the 2nd best record in the National League East. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They trail the Atlanta Braves by 3 games in the division, and also they are trailing the St. Louis Cardinals by 4.5 games for that 2nd National League wildcard spot. At the moment, the Phillies are the 3rd team on the outside looking in, trailing the Cincinnati Reds and also the San Diego Padres. Jumping out to the Bronx, the New York Yankees hosted the Texas Rangers and were able to pull up a 4-3 win at home. The Yankees would score all 4 of their runs between the 2nd and 3rd inning in order to pull off this win. For the Texas Rangers in this matchup, the loss would go to their starting pitcher on the day, AJ Alexy. He would allow 4 earned runs in 3.1 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. With this loss, he's now 2-1. In the Rangers batting lineup, their shortstop, Isaiah Kiner Falefa, will go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their designated hitter, Andy Ibanez, would end up going 2 for 4 on the day. And for the New York Yankees, the start would end up going to Nestor Cortez. Cortez would allow 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 7 before getting pulled in the 5th inning. The win for the Yankees would go to their first relief pitcher, Chad Green. Chad Green allowed no earned runs in 1.2 innings pitched. He would finish the 5th and 6th innings for New York. With this win, he's now 8-7. The save would go to the Yankees closer, Aroldis Chapman. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. This will be his 28th save of the season. In the Yankees batting lineup, their elite right fielder, Aaron Judge, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. He alongside Gleyber Torres were the only players with more than 1 hit. Their elite second baseman, Gleyber Torres, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI. With this win, the New York Yankees are now 84-67. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've won 6 of their last 10 games as they trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 9 games in the division. Right now, they are sitting half a game behind the Toronto Blue Jays for that second American League wildcard spot. At the moment, the New York Yankees are the first team on the outside of the wild card looking in. With this loss, the Texas Rangers are now 55-95. That is the worst record in the American League West. They've lost their last 2 games. They've lost 6 of their last 10. At the moment, they trailed the Houston Astros by 34 games in the division, and they are one of 4 teams in the American League who have been eliminated from playoff contention. Jumping out to Tampa Bay, the Rays hosted the Blue Jays. And after the Blue Jays would go on to take a 2-0 lead, the Rays would go on to score all 6 of their runs before Toronto would score the other 2. For the Blue Jays in this matchup, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Robbie Ray. He allowed 3 earned runs in 4.2 innings pitched as he struck out 5. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their all-star second baseman, Marcus Semien, would go 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he went on to hit his 41st home run of the season. For the Tampa Bay Rays in this matchup, the win would go to their starting pitcher, Shane Baz. Shane Baz would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits and 5 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this win, Baz is 1-0 on the season. The save for Tampa Bay would go to their closer, Dietrich Enns. He allowed no earned runs in .1 inning pitch to finish off the 9th. He would strike out a batter, and this would be his 2nd save of the year. In the Rays batting lineup, their first baseman, Yandy Diaz, would end up going 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 12th home run of the season. And additionally, their center fielder, Kevin Kiermaier, would go 3 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 93-58. That is the best record in the American League East and the best record in the American League as a whole. They've won 5 of their last 10 games as they sit 7 games ahead of the second-place Boston Red Sox in the division. They're holding on to the number 1 seed in the American League, sitting ahead of the 2nd seed Houston Astros and the 3rd seed Chicago White Sox for the moment. With this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 84-66. That is the 3rd best record in the American League East. They've only lost 3 of their last 10 games as they trailed the Tampa Bay Rays by 8.5 games in the division. And right now they sit half a game ahead of the 2nd place. They sit half a game ahead of the New York Yankees, who are the first team on the outside of the playoff picture looking in, as they are sitting a game and a half behind the Boston Red Sox, who are sitting comfortably in that first spot in the wild card. Jumping out to Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Brewers hosted the St. Louis Cardinals, looking to be the team that put an end to the Cardinals' winning streak, but alas, they were not. The Cardinals were able to beat the Brewers 5-2. The score was tied at 5. The Cardinals would end up breaking the tie in the 6th inning off of an RBI single from Yadier Molina to give them the win. For the Milwaukee Brewers in this matchup, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Freddie Peralta. He allowed 3 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 9. With this loss, he's 9-5 on the season. In the Brewers batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their right fielder, Avi Garcia, would go 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 28th home run of the year. For the St. Louis Cardinals, the win would go to their starting pitcher, John Lester. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in 6 innings pitched. Both the runs he allowed were off of solo home runs. With this win, he's 7-6 on the year. The save for the Cardinals will go to Luis Garcia, their closer. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This will be his first save of the year. I don't know if I just said that. But in the Cardinals batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Nolan Arenado, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 33rd home run of the year. And then their future Hall of Fame catcher, Yadier Molina, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 80-69. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They've won their last 9 games. That is the longest active winning streak in the MLB this season. They've won 9 of their last 10. They trailed the Milwaukee Brewers by 10.5 games in the division at the moment, and they are holding on to that 2nd seed in the National League wildcard spot, sitting 15.5 games behind the LA Dodgers, holding on to that first spot. And they are sitting 3 games ahead of the Cincinnati Reds, as the Reds are the first team on the outside of the picture looking in. With this loss, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 91-59, having already clinched a spot in the playoffs. One of the three of the five spots that have already been clinched. They've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 4 of their last 10. At the moment, they sit 10.5 games ahead of the second place St. Louis Cardinals in the division, and they are holding on to that second seed in the National League playoff picture, sitting behind the first seed San Francisco Giants and sitting ahead of the third seed Atlanta Braves. Jumping out to Anaheim, the Los Angeles Angels hosted the Houston Astros. The Astros would end up shutting out the Angels 10-0, holding the Angels to 6 hits all game while the Astros had 17. For the Angels in this matchup, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Jaime Barria. He allowed 2 earned runs and 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this loss, Barria is 2-4 on the season. In the Angels batting lineup, the only player with a multi-hit game was their catcher, Kurt Suzuki, as he went 2 for 3. For the Houston Astros, the win went to their starting pitcher, Framber Valdez. He allowed no earned runs and 6 hits and 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 6 on the night. With this win, Framber Valdez is 11-5 on the season. In the Astros batting lineup, their left fielder, Yordan Alvarez, would go 2 for 5 with a run. Their first baseman, Yuli Gurriel, would go 3 for 4 with a run. Their shortstop, Carlos Correa, would end up going 4 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their second baseman, Marwin Gonzalez, would end up going 2 for 5 with 5 RBIs and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his 5th home run of the season for the team. Their center fielder, Chas McCormick, went 2 for 5 with a run. And then their catcher, Martin Maldonado, would go 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. He hit his 11th home run of the season. With this win, the Houston Astros are now 89-61. That is the best record in the American League West. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. They sit 7 games ahead of the second place Oakland Athletics in the division, and right now they are holding on to that second seed in the American League playoff picture, trailing the 1 seed Tampa Bay Rays and sitting ahead of the 3 seed Chicago White Sox. With this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are now 72-78. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They've lost their last 4 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They trail the Houston Astros by 17 games in the division. And jumping out to Oakland, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Seattle Mariners in this battle for the second spot in the National League or in the American League West. The Mariners would end up beating the Athletics as they inch in a game closer to them in the wild card race. For the A's in this matchup, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Sean Manaea. He allowed all 4 of the runs the team would allow in the first 5 innings of the game as he struck out 3. With this loss, Manaea is 10-10 on the season. In the A's batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their shortstop, Elvis Andrus. He went 2 for 2 with a run. For the Seattle Mariners, the win will go to their starting pitcher for the day, Tyler Anderson. Anderson would finish with 1 earned run off of 4 hits and 7 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this win, Anderson is 7-9, and the save would go to the Mariners closer, Paul Sewald. He would allow no earned runs and 1.2 innings pitched and strike out 3. He would finish off the 8th and 9th innings for the Mariners, and in their batting lineup, their shortstop, J.P. Crawford, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their right fielder, Mitch Haniger, went 2 for 3 as well. Their third baseman, Kyle Seager, would go 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 81-69. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They trail the Houston Astros by 8 games in the division at the moment. And with this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 82-68. That is the 2nd best record in the American League West. They've lost 4 of their last 10 as they trail the Astros by 7 games in the division. They trail the Toronto Blue Jays by 2 games for that second wild card spot. The A's are the 2nd team on the outside of the playoff picture looking in as they also trail the New York Yankees. Last but not least, jumping out to Phoenix, Arizona, the Diamondbacks, the holders of the league's worst record, hosted the Atlanta Braves, the leaders of the National League East. The Diamondbacks were leading the Braves 3-2 going into the 5th inning, where the Braves would end up scoring 7 runs. The Braves would run away with an 11-4 victory in Phoenix. For the Diamondbacks, the loss would end up going to their starting pitcher for the day. Humberto Mejia would go on to allow 6 earned runs and 4 innings pitched as he struck out 4 for Arizona. With this loss, Mejia is 0-2 on the season. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their second baseman, Ketel Marte, went 3 for 4 with an RBI. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. For the Atlanta Braves, the start went to Huascar Ynoa. He allowed 3 earned runs in 4 innings pitched, striking out 2. The win would go to the Braves' first relief pitcher, Jacob Webb. He allowed no earned runs in the 5th inning as he struck out 2. With this win, he's now 5-3. In the Braves' batting lineup, their elite first baseman and reigning National League MVP, Freddie Freeman, went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Also, their elite second baseman Ozzie Albies would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their third baseman Austin Riley would go 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. Their center fielder Adam Duvall would end up going 1 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 37th home run of the season. Their left fielder Eddie Rosario would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his 13th home run of the season. And their catcher William Contreras would go 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 78-70. That is the best record in the National League East. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. At the moment, they sit 3 games ahead of the second-place Philadelphia Phillies in the division, and at the moment, they are holding on to that 3rd National League playoff seed as they sit behind the 1st seed San Francisco Giants out west, and they sit behind the 2nd seed Milwaukee Brewers, who are currently controlling the Central. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 48-102. They are now tied with the Baltimore Orioles for the worst record in all of baseball as they've lost their last 2 games. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They trailed the San Francisco Giants by 49 games in the division, which is also the gap between the best and worst teams in all of baseball this year. Alongside the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Washington Nationals, the Miami Marlins, and the Chicago Cubs, the Diamondbacks are eliminated from playoff contention at the moment. That is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups, and looking forward to what's going on today because it is Tuesday. Starting at 1:10, Tyler Alexander and the Detroit Tigers are going to host the Chicago White Sox, led by their elite starting pitcher Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel comes into this matchup with an 8-9 record, holding a 5.23 ERA. At 6:10, Cal Quantrill and the Cleveland Indians are going to host Daniel Lynch and the Kansas City Royals. Cal Quantrill enters this matchup with a 6-3 record, holding a 2.89 ERA. At 6:40, Tyler Mahle and the Cincinnati Reds are going to host Mitch Keller and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mahle enters his matchup with a 12-5 record, holding a 3.59 ERA. At 6:40, Trevor Rogers and the Miami Marlins are going to host Josh Rogers and the Washington Nationals. Trevor Rogers is going to take his home mound, holding a 7-7 record alongside a 2.71 ERA. At 7:05 on ESPN+, the Philadelphia Phillies, fighting for that 2nd National League East spot, are going to host the Baltimore Orioles, one of the holders of the worst record in baseball at the moment. At 7:05 at the same time, Jordan Montgomery and the New York Yankees are going to host Dane Dunning and the Texas Rangers. Jordan Montgomery is holding a 5-6 record alongside a 3.63 ERA. At 7:10, Marcus Stroman and the New York Mets are going to go to Boston to face off against Eduardo Rodriguez and the Red Sox. Stroman enters his matchup with a 9-12 record, holding a 2.88 ERA. Eduardo Rodriguez is now 11-8, holding a 5 flat ERA. At 7:10 on ESPN, Drew Rasmussen and the Tampa Bay Rays are going to host Alek Manoah and the Toronto Blue Jays. Manoah enters his matchup with a 6-2 record, holding a 3.39 ERA, and the Rays hold the best record in all of the American League. At 7:40, Alec Mills and the Chicago Cubs are going to host Griffin Jax and the Minnesota Twins. At 7:40, Brandon Woodruff and the Milwaukee Brewers are going to host Jake Woodford in the flaring hot St. Louis Cardinals. Brandon Woodruff enters his matchup with a 9-9 record, holding a 2.55 ERA. At 8:40, Antonio Senzatella and the Colorado Rockies are going to host Julio Urias and the defending World Series champs LA Dodgers. Julio Urias enters his matchup with an 18-3 record, holding a 2.99 ERA on the year. At 9:38, Packy Naughton and the Los Angeles Angels are going to host Jose Urquidy and the Houston Astros. Urquidy enters his matchup with a 7-3 record, holding a 3.38 ERA. At 9:40, Luke Weaver and the Arizona Diamondbacks, are gonna host Jesse Chavez and the Atlanta Braves. Jesse Chavez enters his matchup with a 3-2 record, holding a 2.67 ERA on the year. At the same time, at 9:40, Paul Blackburn and the Oakland Athletics are going to host Marco Gonzalez and the Seattle Mariners. Last but not least, at 10:10, the San Diego Padres are going to host Kevin Gausman and the San Francisco Giants, as the Giants are still competing for the best spot in the National League playoff picture, and the Padres are still competing for that wild card spot that they've fallen quite a distance from. Coming into this matchup, Kevin Gausman is now 14-6, holding a 2.78 ERA. So that's what's going on with baseball at the moment. Taking a look at what's going on with the NFL and yesterday's only football game. In the second Monday of the 2021 NFL season, the Green Bay Packers would end up beating the Lions 35-17. After the Lions led 17-14 at the half, the Packers would outscore the Lions 21-0 in the second half. For the Lions in this matchup, their starting quarterback Jared Goff threw for 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Goff also ran for 46 yards on the ground. That's 292 total yards of offense for him. Their leading receiver, TJ Hawkinson, had 66 yards on 8 receptions as he had a touchdown. Quintez Cephas had 63 yards on 4 receptions as he had the other receiving touchdown. On the defensive side of the ball, Alec Anzalone would finish with 10 tackles on the day, leading both teams in that aspect. And then for the Green Bay Packers, they were led through the air by their goated starting quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. He would complete 22 of his 27 passes, throwing for 255 yards and 4 touchdowns. Rodgers would also run for 6 yards, so he had 261 total yards of offense. Their leading rusher, Aaron Jones, would finish with 67 yards on 17 carries and a touchdown. He also had 48 yards on 6 receptions and 3 touchdowns for the day. He would finish with 115 total yards of offense and 4 touchdowns on the day. Their leading receiver was their elite wide receiver Davante Adams, as he finished with 121 yards on 8 receptions. On the defensive side of the ball, they were led in tackles by Devondre Campbell, and he also would finish with an interception on the day as well. With this win, the Green Bay Packers are now 1-1 to start their season. They are tied with the Chicago Bears for the best record in the NFC North, and with this loss, the Detroit Lions are now 0-2. They are tied with the Minnesota Vikings for the worst record in the NFC North. That is what the NFL season is looking like, as week 3 of the NFL season looks as though it's going to pick up this Thursday, and the matchup that is going to be anticipated will be between the Houston Texans and the Carolina Panthers at NRG Stadium, but of course I'll pick up on that on Thursday. And then taking a look at what's going on outside of our country, the only big soccer match that took place yesterday was between Barcelona and Granada, and in this matchup, Barcelona would score it in the 90th minute in order to draw with Granada to get the 1 point in the La Liga table. Taking a look at what Spain is looking like, Barcelona is currently sitting 10th in the table, even though they've played less. They've only played 2 less, got match games than mostly everyone in the table. But right now, that's where they sit, not at the top, but right where they are. But right now, that is what's going on. Taking a look at what's going on today, there's going to be a bunch of domestic matchups going on. But first, starting off in the leagues, in Spanish La Liga, Atletico Madrid is going to face off against Getafe. Atletico Madrid currently sitting second in the table right behind Real Madrid. This is Madrid's chance to jump at the top of the table for the time being. And then looking at the English Carabao Cup, Manchester City is going to face off against Wycombe Wanderers at 2:45. Liverpool is going to face off against Norwich City. At the same time, in Italian Serie A, the reigning Serie A champs Inter Milan are going to face off against Fiorentina at 2:45. And with that said, that is everything that's going on today for Tuesday, September 21st, the 21st day of September. I want to thank everyone once again for listening to this piece. I want to thank the MLB, FIFA, and NFL websites for giving me what I needed for the facts and figures to help get this done. And of course, I apologize for butchering any names, because I do plan on getting them right eventually. I hope all is well, and once everything is done today, I will come back tomorrow on Wednesday, September 22nd for another episode of The Elite. And until then, thanks for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and I actually have an elite individual profile after this, so I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow. Peace out.